The LONGBOX CRUSADE presents Pop Culture Posi-Cast. Hello, and welcome to the Pop Culture Posi-Cast. This is the show where we find all the good stuff in items of pop culture. Movies, music, comics, TV shows, you name it, we're going to find the fun stuff in it. I'm Peppy Pat, and joining me as always is my co-host, Jazzy Jarrod. Well, hello, Peppy Pat. Of course, I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to getting into a Posi-Cast. It's been a while since we've done one of these.
It has.
It really has. This is an occasional podcast. We put it on our schedule when we have a little bit of free time. We don't have a lot of free time in our schedule back because we stay busy. But man, it's always exciting to see one of these come up because I love to put some positive light on stuff that maybe gets pooped on. Pooped on, Pat.
Ooh, it stinks. I hate that.
All right. Before we tackle today's topic, I'll do a quick reminder to our audience of the mission of this podcast. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a controversial or maybe even generally disliked item of pop culture. We're going to give you our honest overall feelings on it. And most importantly, this is the big one, we want to shine a light on the positive aspects of the topic. Because most things aren't just 100% bad. There's usually some good stuff if you look for it. And that is our mission here, is to find it. Now, let me tell you what we're not going to do. We're not going to try to convince you to like something you don't like. If you don't like today's topic, that's fine. We're not here to tell you you're wrong. Okay, that's actually the third bullet. I'm just going to skip to that. We're not here to tell you you're wrong. We're just going to shine the light on what we think are some of the positive aspects of it. And we're definitely not going to encourage fandom battles. We don't want you getting on our social medias and saying, oh, you know, you suck because you didn't like it. No, you suck because you like it, blah, blah. That gets us nowhere. So we just want to bring forth the positivity. If you like it, soak it up. If it's not for you, move along, and that's okay too.
That's right. Like I said in the opener, we're 100% about finding the good in everything. And some might say, Jarrod, we are about 110% positive.
We are. We're super positive. We're positive that we're positive.
We're giving you all the positivity.
All of it.
It's like, how much do you think it is? 110%. You know how we get to that 110%, Jarrod?
Where does the extra 10% come from?
Well, not only with just us being positive, Peppy, and Jazzy, we're going to add some bonus in every episode at the end called Positively Practical with Jazzy Jarrod. And guess what he's going to be doing? Jarrod's been in the communication and leadership training business for what, Jarrod? Like over 20 years?
Over 20 years, Pat.
Wow. That's awesome. So he's going to give you and me some practical advice how we can, incorporate it into our daily lives at the end of every episode. That's right. We're going to enhance your life skills while we talk about fun pop culture stuff. So, hey, you know what? Let's get started.
Let's do exactly that. On this episode of Pop Culture Posi-Cast, we will be finding the good in the 1997 film Batman and Robin.
My name is Freeze. Learn it well, for the chilling sound of your doom. This is the way the world could end. Please, show some mercy. With ice. With a kiss. With venom. I probably should have mentioned this. I'm
Poison Ivy.
And the only man who can stop them.
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
Can't do it alone.
Batman will watch his beloved Gotham perish. Bundle up, boys. There's a storm coming. Kill the heroes!
It's the hockey team from hell.
Cool party.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
All right, everyone, chill.
George Clooney.
Julie, I'm not the marrying kind.
I know you've had your wild nights.
Good night. Wild doesn't quite cover it.
Chris O'Donnell.
I want a car. Chicks dig the car. This is why Superman works alone.
Uma Thurman,
So many people to kill, so little time.
Alicia Silverstone,
And you are?
Batgirl.
That's not awfully PC. What about that person?
Found the Batcave.
She knows who we are.
Guess we'll just have to kill her.
Yep.
in Joel Schumacher film. Strength and courage,
Partners?
honor
Partners.
and loyalty.
Partners.
It all comes together.
We're going to need a bigger cave.
Batman and Robin.
All right, for the first step in every Posi-Cast is to give you our honest thoughts. We will always start by being upfront with you on how we feel about our topic. It's important to remember that even if we aren't super keen on something, that doesn't mean we can't find the good in it. So let's get going with our segment called Honest Talk.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
How do you feel about Batman and Robin overall, Jarrod?
Well, Pat, I'm glad you asked. This is the honest talk. So let me get this out front. Of all the Batman films out there, I think this is the weakest link in the chain. I think all the other ones are better. And I think I'm including the Adam West Batman movie as well. Although they do share a lot of similarities in their campiness and their fun factors. My thoughts on this movie have changed as I've gotten older. And it might be because, I've made more of an effort to let go of negativity and all that stuff. But like if you had asked me in 1998 or 1999, I'd have been like, this thing is an abomination. It doesn't deserve to exist. As I've gotten older and I've rewatched it, the fun factor just grows. It might be because it's a quote unquote bad movie. Those can be fun to watch. Like there's something silly about it and adventurous about it. It really reminds me of like a Bob Haney comic from the 60s.
Yeah.
And in that regard, it has a fun factor. So 20-something-year-old Jarrod would have been like, oh, it sucks and it doesn't deserve to exist. We should burn all copies. But here I am at 46 going, you know what? It's fun. And I think it's important to note too that I rewatched it with my 8-year-old.
Oh, okay.
And he loved it. Like and I know that's not like he's 8. But there's something to that.
Yeah, there is. And I think that brings out a good point right away on this one is that it is something that you can kind of watch with your younger kids and, they're going to look at this one and go, yeah, this was kind of fun. If it held his interest in it, definitely.
What are the thoughts? Do you have any additional thoughts on it?
I think you said a lot about it. I
did say a lot of words.
Yes. Honestly, it's been quite a long time since I've watched this movie. I've seen it here and there through the many years. This is 97. Man, I probably haven't seen this in the 2000s at all. Like a full watch through. Not at all. Once it came out, watched it in the theater. I got the DVD of it, but I don't think I've ventured back into it. Probably watched a little bit with my, introduced my son when he was at a young age as well to it, to go, oh, hey, these were our Batman back then. He would go through the series and watch them. But yeah, this is one that you can definitely tell when I was watching it, I was thinking and comparing it to the 89 and then Batman Returns and then Batman Forever. And then you see, this one. So you can see the steadily incline of, where the movies go and how it got to this point.
More campy, more and more neon.
Yeah.
More and more to sell toys.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I would say this was definitely out to sell some toys for sure.
Yeah. So again, this is honest talk. So we've said a lot of glowing things, but I just want to underline it that, I do think that this is the low point of the Batman movie franchise. And if I'm very honest, like I think the thing that wounds me the most about it is probably how they did our boy Bane. Like, what an important and compelling character to the whole Batman mythos, and he's just kind of his brain dead lackey that I was like, oh, let's just use that was rough.
Yeah, I would have liked to see a little bit more of what we saw later on in the remake ones.
Right, they took Bane much more seriously. I mean, your mileage may vary on his accent in this. But yeah,
they gave him a better story instead of But for me to see a scrawny guy go like muscly like that. That could be me someday.
I will have something surprisingly good to say about Bane later on when we talk about the positive takeaways that we had. But like overall, they did our boy wrong, man. They did our boy wrong. Okay, folks, now that you know how we feel about it, it's time to find out what the internet has to say in our segment called The Pit of Despair.
Where am I?
The Pit of Despair. Don't even think.
Don't even think about trying to escape. The chains are far too thick.
Here we go, Pat.
Yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this pit. I don't know how deep it goes, but hopefully we can recover from it.
Let's just say, for some of the things we've had to cover on the show before, I've had to dig pretty deep to find negativity. This was not hard. It was all like there. This is all like page 1 of the comments on IMDb.
This is like you just wake out of bed on the wrong side and then hey, it's out there.
All right, during the Pit of Despair, I get the unenviable task of finding the more common negative opinions found on today's topic, which of course is Batman and Robin. I find them on social media, a lot of IMDb comments, things like that. So Peppy, Pat, and I will address these comments. So put on your helmet, Pat. We're diving into the internets. And those internet dives are brought to you by Delvin. Here is our first comment.
Welcome back to the Pit of Despair. It's been a while. I missed you guys. I missed Jarrod. I missed Pat coming down to visit with everyone down here in the Pit of Despair for a minute. Good. Glad you guys are here. Anyway, we got a few comments about Batman and Robin. Let's get to them. 3 comments. Comment number 1. This movie was just a pathetic attempt at merchandising Batman and making an over-the-top action movie that really had nothing to do with Batman.
Pat, your thoughts?
I would agree with them that it was a merchandise grab. The 4th movie in, it's all about the toys. You can definitely tell, they want you to bring the kids to the theater and buy all the toys, buy all the merchandise that is out there that you can. And, not only were they, going for the boys, they were bringing in the girls now too, with Batgirl that's involved in this as well too. And you have the younger kids with Robin. And so I think it's just a whole good PR way of getting Batman out there.
Yeah, I mean, listen to this particular comment. I do think, you're right. This was definitely a lot about merchandising. Pathetic attempt. Those are strong words. I don't think it was a pathetic attempt. I think it was an outright bold attempt at merchandising. But the only bugaboo I have with this particular comment, because it says over the top action movie. I agree. It's over the top. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No debate. It says it really had nothing to do with Batman. I would debate that. Maybe not the Batman that this commenter's used to from 89 or the Dark Knight or the post-crisis, but pre-crisis Batman, especially the Haney years. I could see this. And there are actually some key Batman things that I find in this movie. So I wouldn't go so far as to say this has nothing to do with Batman. Maybe not. Like, I feel like this commenter was probably post Nolan films. So now it feels like it. But if you go back to the 60s, like TV show and comics, it fits in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Definitely the lighter side of Batman. Not a lot of detective-y things going on with it. Also, this is totally an action movie and just a crazy adventure that you're on the ride for.
Yeah, merchandising, definitely. I remember seeing a interview with the director Joel Schumacher, and he used the word toyetic I remember seeing an interview with him where he literally apologized to the fans and just said, I thought I was making the best movie I can. And Kenner was heavily involved with the toys. I mean, you can look at the movie and see they do a lot of costume swaps. There's a lot of different vehicles, good guys, bad guys, vehicles all over the place.
Yep.
So,
cool guns, cool stuff going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I got some of those toys are pretty cool. I still have some.
You know what? Yeah, I can't say you can't say anything. I mean, a cool toy like that is
just fun.
Yeah,
yeah. I'll have more to say about that later.
It's a spoil of riches. You know what I mean? Oh, can I have some more Batman toys? Yes, please.
Yeah, we're gonna give you all the Batman toys. All right, let's get into our second comment. Back to Delvin.
Number 2, Batman and Robin will make you lose all faith in Hollywood. Indeed, humanity as a whole. Stunningly awful. This was a disaster from the moment George Clooney traded in his scrubs for the black rubber boots. And it's not even awful in a cute showgirls kind of way. Editor's note there, showgirls was just awful in an awful kind of way. Back to the comment. You won't laugh, but you might cry over the fact that you've just flushed 125 precious minutes of your life down the crapper.
I like to make the most bitter one the second one, Pat.
I was going to say, this guy, man, he must have been writing this while on the crapper.
Like, he just left the theater. He left early, angry. And, okay, I worked at the theater when this movie came out.
Okay.
And we did have walkouts. We did have people that left halfway through angry, asking for refunds.
Did they say why?
They thought the movie was so bad. They're like, this movie's terrible. I want a refund. It happened a couple times. I won't lie. But let's examine it piece by piece, Pat. Lose all faith in Hollywood?
Nah.
I
mean, obviously not. There, you know what? Last I looked, Hollywood's still out there, but they're making movies.
Batman movies, too.
Yeah, in different versions.
So, no, I don't think we lost faith in Hollywood or humanity as a whole. Someone's being a little adventurous here.
Yeah.
Stunningly awful. That's the beginning of the next sentence. Stunningly awful. I might agree with that one. Like, it is stunning and it's awful. Like I said, half the fun of watching it now is just kind of knowing
what to look for,
what you're getting. Yeah. It's like the fun you get when you watch a Mystery Science Theater movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I won't fight about stunningly awful.
You know what? I think going back, this would be a good one to sit around with your friends. You know, I watched it by myself and I was like, oh, here, you know, this would be a really good one. Like you said, to do a Mystery Science Theater on it and just having some fun with your friends, talking and enjoying it. So,
definitely. Okay, so he said from there, he says a disaster from the moment George Clooney traded in his scrubs for black rubber boots. I don't think he's taken a hard swing at George, but I tend to defend George Clooney and say, you know, it's in my notes to talk about later, but I'll peek a little bit here. I think he makes a good Batman. I think he makes a great Bruce Wayne.
I would agree. Great Bruce Wayne. I think, you know, that's the script he was dealt with.
Yeah,
you know,
it's 100% of the script. And I remember for years I'd see George Clooney on interviews just blaming himself for the failure of this movie. And I'm like, nah, dude.
No, dude,
No.
It's not like he didn't phone it in at all. He delivered what he had the way he was told to deliver it.
I definitely feel like if he gets the same script and everything, you just kind of pluck out Keaton and put in Clooney from 89 or Returns. I think he does a fine job. So no, I'm cool on Clooney. And we can talk more about that later. He said it's not even awful in a cute Showgirls kind of way. Showgirls, I'm going to derail here, Pat. We might need to do a Posi-Cast on it.
We can do that.
Yeah. Showgirls is a movie, Pat, that it's the only movie I've ever stopped in the middle of because I got it on VHS and I was like 19 years old. So I was the target audience and I stopped it halfway through. I was like, no.
I think I watched it, you know, not in the theaters, but it's probably like, you know, VHS that brought home and
it's like a
friends.
Secret.
We brought it with
I'm
friends.
Gonna watch a secret little sexy movie, and then you're like, this is not sexy.
No, I think I actually watched it with a group of
maybe that's the way to do it.
It was like, okay,
yeah, it's bad. So no, I would not put it in league with like Showgirls is a movie I would not even attempt to watch again now. Batman and Robin, I'd watch it again.
Would you watch it if perhaps we got enough people into the Crusaders Club for only $1 a month?
Oh God! Oh, why are you doing this to me? Del and I already said we'd watch Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I want to watch it with you guys. I've never watched it yet.
Okay. Well, we could do an episode around it once we hit 40. We're currently, as was recording, at 37 patrons. If we hit 40, we'll do Fantastic Four. If we do 50, then God help me.
Showgirls.
Oh, God. I might have to do Showgirls.
What a big show that would be.
Oof. Oof. Anyways, let's finish this, guys. He said you won't laugh, but you might cry over the fact that you've just flushed 125 precious minutes of your life down the crapper. Again, a little dark for me, but 125 minutes is a little long.
It was. I would have to agree with that. Yeah, it was a pretty long movie when I first started to watch this. You know me, I like to, I watch it later at night because that's when I got time and it's quiet. So I'm like, okay, how long is this thing? Oh, it's 2 hours. Okay, I can cut it in half. Watch, an hour one night and then finish it up the other night. I was still kind of going, oh man, that's an hour and a half to watch a movie. Or, that's an hour to watch one movie and then the next. But yeah.
Yeah, it's runtime for again, we've readily acknowledged the fact that it's the low point of the Batman franchise and it's super cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
And super cheesy can be, this is what I've learned over the years, Pat, of watching super cheesy bad movies, because I do like super cheesy bad movies.
Sure. Yeah.
But a great super cheesy bad movie knows when to get the heck out of town. And that's usually 90 minutes or less.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Good
so going at 2 hours and 5 minutes is a little lofty. So, you know what? This guy may have been the saltiest commenter that we have, but
that's their opinion. And
yeah, I mean,
I wish I knew a little bit more about that person to say, maybe they are a big Batman fan of a certain era, and I can see where they're coming from.
I don't get mad at people who, like we've talked about at the top, man. We're not here to change anybody's mind. If someone just hates this movie, I get it. If you have a certain mold of Batman, this one ain't it.
It's not yours. Yeah. Hey, man, that's not my Batman.
I remember the first time I watched the Adam West Batman, and it was like after the Keatons, and I was like, what is this craziness? This is dumb.
See, I remember.
And then I started liking it more and more and more as I watched it.
See, I remember on the build-up, they were showing the 66 before, prior to the build-up of 89.
Right, 89. But see, I was in Germany, so
yeah,
I didn't get that part of things. Okay, pal, let's do the last comment.
All right, let's get to it.
Delvin, bring us that last comment.
And last comment. I know that there has to be some justice in life, so everyone will pay for their sins and crimes someday. I shudder when I think what will happen to Joel Schumacher for killing the Batman franchise. I mean, this is a pit of despair, but things got better, right? I mean, Batman Begins. Back to you, fellas.
This guy, Pat, went spiritual. What's your immediate reaction?
But, oh, man, it's kind of funny how just some of the comments that are out there to go, man, this guy, he definitely has some thoughts that he wants to say here and do it in the way this person knows how to do. And, oh, man. It's fun to read, but to go to that area of, did he ruin the franchise? Guess you can't blame it on him. Again, too, he's being told, whoever owns the property, this is the way we want you to do it, or we need this because we want to sell toys, or we want to, do something, and guys getting paid for it.
You make a good point, because Batman falls under the Warner Brothers umbrella, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Warner Brothers traditionally has been known as the more meddling studio. Like MCU got launched in 08 or something like that. And they kind of had that pure, we're running everything. And then it was really successful. Warner Brothers for years is like meddling is the word I keep hearing about. So I think you're right. I think it's unfair to put it all on Joel Schumacher. I mean, he's the director. So does he bear ultimate responsibility? I guess to an extent. To the extent that he has to pay for his sins in movie hell, apparently. That's a little...
Okay, who's sitting there with him now? Are you going to say, the Justice League one is, where is it?
Yeah. So, I mean, the guy went spiritual on it, but I want to focus on his, which is funny in a sense, but
it is.
I want to focus on the last part of his comment, which was killed the Batman franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly we're sitting here today in 2023 and it is not dead.
No. In fact, it's gotten the third life, maybe a fourth,
Yeah. I think if you look at, Batman's, life in the theater, as we know from Saturday Matinee Theater, it really starts in the 40s.
Yeah.
With the serial, right? And then you can kind of lump the tail end of that would probably be the Adam West Batman movie. And then that 89 launched that new one. So in that sense, I'll agree with this guy. I think Batman and Robin killed the 89 momentum. Like Batman Returns, Batman, and then Batman and Robin kind of put the brakes on it. So I'll agree with him there, but like killing the franchise overall, no, because it was only 8 years later that we got Batman Begins.
Yeah, so I think with anything, when you have a property that is well known and you did well with it before, you're going to go back to it and you're going to revamp it. You're going to, reimagine it, redo it.
James Bond.
Yeah. And, all your bigger, they're just going to go back to it and redo it for the newer age. I mean, look at Star Wars. They're going to redo it, and they're continuing to redo Star Wars stuff. Even Star Trek's doing it. We're going to bring back all these, and there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah, these cash cows are never going to run dry. So no, this 97 film did not kill the franchise. It might have given it pause.
Sure.
But sometimes a pause is good.
Yeah.
A big License to Kill fan, James Bond, 89. But then all the legal battles and troubles come in 89. So that's why Timmy D only got to do 2 movies. And we had to wait 6 years, almost like the 8-year spread between Batmans. And a lot of people who aren't in the know think, well, License to Kill did so poorly but no, that was not it at all. It was legal issues. But then they relaunched with GoldenEye. And bam, James Bond's back on that. Same thing happens here.
Sometimes,
except
you know what?
It's not fair to call License to Kill the Batman and Robin of the franchise. But what is fair, Pat? I would say that campy, because it's the campiest Batman. That campy Roger Moore era, right? A lot of people look back on that now and cringe. But did it kill the franchise?
No,
absolutely not.
And you know what? Sometimes absence makes the heart go fonder.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, with that, then we did it. Woo!
We made it.
We're back from the pit. Man, I was got a little, grimy and dusty around there, crawling out of that pit, but we did it.
Delvin enjoys his job too much. I think.
He does. Delvin. Yeah. Oh, Delvin, we appreciate your help. Thank you, Delvin. With that, we survived another dive into the depths of the internet. That calls for a celebration, and we do that on this show in our most important segment called Give Me the Good Stuff. During Give Me the Good Stuff, Jarrod and I will each reveal our list of 3 things that we liked about today's feature. So let's get cracking. Jarrod, tell me one thing that you liked about this movie, and we'll go back and forth.
All right. I actually have, shockingly, Pat, for the low point of the Batman franchise, 6 things written down. Some of them I can combine, so I'll do my best to do so.
Okay.
For my first one, my number 1, my biggest defense of this movie, which is not an enviable place to be, to defend this movie, I will say this. The scenes between Clooney's Bruce Wayne and Michael Gough's Alfred are incredibly good.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
When Alfred is dying, they're incredibly tender. I feel them.
Yes.
When Alfred says, oh, I must have dozed off, sir. I'm sorry I didn't get the door. And Bruce Wayne says, well, it hasn't happened in 35 years. Those moments.
He knows something's starting to happen. Yeah. And then at the end where at the bedside and he's just and then kisses him. I was like, oh, man.
Oh, it touches my heart. It touches my heart. We don't see a lot of that. I mean, we got some pretty good Bruce Wayne Alfred stuff with the Michael Caine Alfred with Christian Bale. But I don't know. This just felt good and I liked it.
Yeah, those parts were the nice break in the rest of what was happening in this movie, the story that they were telling. I thought this was really the good stuff. if you wanted the kind of heart-touching little story here with Alfred, this one gave it to you.
Yeah, I almost feel bad because, again, I'll be honest with you. I've mentioned this several times already, but I want to remind everybody, it's the low point of the Batman franchise. I feel like that storyline almost maybe got wasted. I would have liked to see it in a more quote-unquote serious Batman movie.
Yeah, that would have been good too.
How about you, Pat? What's on your list?
You mentioned it before, and we keep kind of going back to it as well too, but the movie captures the fun and campiness spirit of the classic Batman TV show from the 60s. Which, later on, it was it's still a big delight for fans. There's people that definitely love that Batman 60s, the Adam West. People love it. He made a career out of it. Adam West, what that became his life and what he was known for. I thought this was definitely a fun movie. If you just watch it and just, it's 2-hour movie. Just sit back and relax and have some fun with it, and just know that this is going to be just a fun adventure movie with Batman in it.
Absolutely. I have on my list too, Pat. It says, I wrote down literally, so silly, it's fun, especially Arnold. Just pun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The puns after puns that were going on, and okay, if this movie is so bad, why do people always, till this day, can say the puns and not be said in it? So obviously there's some reason. You can't tell me you watched it once and you remember a pun.
You're not sending me to the cooler. Everybody chill.
Everybody chill.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Oh man. Yeah, there's so many.
And they're all so bad. Like, we're so used to seeing Arnold do puns in his movies. Yeah. And it's like just a never ending.
Yeah, just let him go. It's like he's just spitting them off everything. He says.
Maximum speed.
Jarrod, what do you have?
I'll combine a couple here in my notes. I have two. One that says the posters, because I was going to tell the story earlier about I worked at the movie theater, and they came out with two really cool teaser posters. One said heroes and one said villains. Oh, okay. And one had the heroes one had Batman, Robin, Batgirl, and the villains one had Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Bane. And one, like the heroes one, was kind of done in blue tone, and the villains one was done in red. And I got they were teasers, so I had them before the movie came out. I had them hanging up in my room. I thought they looked so good, which kind of goes into my next note. The costuming, even though it was very toyetic to sell toys, I still thought the costumes looked really cool. Like, none of the costumes really bugged me. I really liked how they were moving, especially Robin from Batman Forever into Batman and Robin. He's looking more and more like Nightwing.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah,
Nightwing transition costume. I've always liked,
especially at the end when they're all in their, they change from fighting Poison Ivy, and then all of a sudden they come out with some new costume with the silver. They
gotta sell toys, but they still look cool.
Yeah.
So I thought Batgirl's costume design was really cool because they got rid of the cowl and they went with more of the domino mask style, which is not traditional for her. But with Alicia Silverstone's, she has really pretty hair. She has great hair. Like, I think it really worked for her.
Yeah.
I think all the costumes worked, and I want to give a special shout out to the Bane costume. I told you we come back to Bane. The character, completely wasted. I get why people are mad at it. It bothers me too. Completely wasted. But his look was pretty good. It looked like pretty out of the comics good.
It did. It would look like he was a guy in a blow-up suit, or, nowadays you'd see those puffy, Halloween costumes that you put on, and then it's got all the padding and all that in there. But
I just like his mask. I like the Venom.
Yep. I like how that was set up like that. I'm going to take off from what you had. That was one of my things, is the costumes. I liked how they looked and the changes that they did, but also the visuals in this. People say, it's all, black lights and neon-y things and all that. But man, the sets that they did to make that stuff pop like that, it gives you that comic book kind of vibe, those color tones, those things like that. And I really liked it. And just, you see Gotham, some of the cityscapes that they show just looked, really amazing to look at. Could a car go down in, a big chase be done on this guy's big arm? Man, what kind of city has a big arm, a big statue like, and that's just probably one of in the city. There's obviously two, because the one that was holding up the
the telescope,
thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely a holdover from '89 and Tim Burton's real unique vision of Gotham City, and they kind of ramped it up a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But here I'll drop a controversial comment here on the show, Pat. Ooh. I think Gotham has never looked better than the Tim Burton era.
Yeah,
and then this era, the Schumacher, the Batman Forever, Batman and Robin era, I think is solidly second place, because ever since then, Gotham has looked like any other city. It's like, oh, it's Chicago, it's New York, it's whatever. And I like Gotham being a character. Yeah. They push it to the max here.
Yeah.
But I still think that's better than as frankly boring as it's been in the others.
These are superheroes. It's supposed to be a little, you know,
and
stretch your imagination.
I know there's listeners out there that are just like, man, I just couldn't stand that neon, and I get it, because some things work better for film than in comics. But like you said, if you look in the comics, a lot of times the coloring's going to be more like you see in Batman and Robin. It's just
to make things pop, to make them show up.
Yeah, I could definitely see what his vision was.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the big statues that holds up the.
I did too. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Like it's very of the Tim Burton era.
Definitely. Do you have one more positive?
I do. We've kind of already talked about this comparison with the James Bond franchise, and I want to go back to that. I want to point out that in the Bond fan community, most of the time, everybody's got their different views on it, and I know I've got mine. People find that campy Roger Moore sort of between Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker especially, and then into like View to a Kill as Roger's in the twilight of being James Bond.
Yeah.
They find those to be the campiest, the cringiest, the goofiest, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And so there's your analogies. This is definitely the goofiest, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things I love about the Bond franchise that I have to transpose onto the Batman franchise here is I love that there's a Bond film for any mood you have. Sometimes you just want that fun Roger.
Yep.
And I would be lying if I didn't say sometimes I just want that fun Batman. I don't want to be depressed. I don't want it to be dark and brooding. No. To be honest with you, my go-to more often than not is actually probably Forever. Batman Forever. That one just has a special place in my heart for various reasons. But I would be lying to you if I didn't say every once in a while I pop this in sort of with that same feeling. I pop Batman and Robin in sort of with that same feeling that I would do with A View to a Kill. Like, I know it's kind of low point and it's campy and it's cheesy, but I want that at that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That makes sense. Like, I love that it's there for when you're in that mood.
Yep. This is your, hey, I'm sick, but I want to watch something. And I just want something.
I always do it when I'm sick. Yes.
Exactly. Because, you can just you can doze off, you can whatever, and it's still going to be fun for you to watch. Just bring you that superhero vibe to it.
Yes. Every time I'm sick, I'm putting in A View to a Kill. I'm putting in Batman Forever, probably Batman and Robin. Like, I want the cheesiest cheese up there. It's like comfort food for me for some reason.
Yep. Definitely.
What else you got, Pat, as we wind this one down?
Well, I'm going to go with, we talked a little bit about it. It's the action that's in this one. There's a lot of action pieces. There's a lot of action sets going on, stunts going on, very well choreographed. They knew what they were doing. They knew they were making an action one. So I liked some of the action scenes in this one. Is some of them were a little, again, cheesy, ice skating around and whatever have you, but still,
I kind of like that motorcycle scene where she was doing underground motorcycle riding.
Oh yeah, the motorcycle
Robin
race,
was kind of sussing her out on that.
Yep.
I did like that. I agree with you. And a bonus thing that I didn't even write down just occurred to me, Pat. Soundtrack on this one's pretty good.
That was gonna be in my,
on your list?
my final wrap up. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No.
Expand.
Let's go ahead. Yeah. Just a great, as I was watching this movie, I had to think back and like, oh man, this was 97. What was I doing around in 97? I was out, this is during my DJing time. So some of the songs that you'd hear in here, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember playing that, like Fun for Me, like Fun for Me.
Oh yeah.
Fun for Me. I'm like, oh man, I haven't heard that song in a long time.
That's one of my favorites.
That's a good, the soundtrack on this one probably has got some good jams. Coolio's in here, man.
Yeah.
How can you not go wrong with Coolio?
There's
in here?
Coolio. He makes an appearance in the movie.
Coolio's in there. Jesse the Body Ventura's in here. Some of these other names. Even I was reading through it. Corey Haim makes an uncredited thing in the biker scene area there.
Oh, okay.
So it's just fun and interesting to see people that pop up and that are in it. They're about, hey, I'm in a Batman movie.
I want to give shout outs to Smashing Pumpkins song. The beginning is the end is the beginning, or something like that.
Yep.
Gotham City by R. Kelly. I've always liked it. There's a version of Poison Ivy by a French singer whose name is hard to pronounce and I can't remember right now, but it's like it's the classic 60s song Poison Ivy, but it's like updated for the 90s and it sounds really good.
Okay.
Just love the soundtrack. Love it. So yeah, we are in agreement. As usual, because we're Peppy.
Yes.
Jazzy.
Yeah, with Jazzy. All right. Well, now that we've gotten our 3 things, or obviously more, that we enjoyed, let's go ahead and wrap this up with our final thoughts. So, Jarrod, give me one final thought on this.
I want to just go back to what I said. I'm glad there's a Batman film for all the moods that you might be in. And I'll go back to what I said before. This is the low point of the franchise. Can I sit here on Pop Culture Posi-Cast and say, this is a dumb movie? Yeah, I can say that. I can say it's dumb. But sometimes you want dumb, especially when you're like me. And I love Mystery Science Theater. I love cheesy 80s films that were only released on VHS. It just speaks to me. And I know I'm very niche on that, but I'm just glad that there's a Batman movie for every mood.
And I'll kind of piggyback off of that. This is a good palate cleanser. It's one of those, when we call those comics that we read that are kind of nice and easy, fun.
That grew.
Yeah, like grew. Or, there's been some good, in between superhero stories where it's just a fun and one done one. You're like, oh, that was nice.
X-Men play baseball.
Yep. Things like that. It's, as you said, you can watch it when you're sick, when you need to feel lifted up. Just put it in, watch it, and enjoy it. And don't think about anything else with this one. Just I'm here to watch a movie and I want some fun.
And if you want to laugh at it, go ahead.
Laugh at it. You know what? Because they put in laugh tracks, they put in sound effects when people get bonked on or whatever. When you go back and you watch it, they really emphasize certain things that they didn't do in previous movies. And so it just makes it even more fun.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, with that, let's go and get into the segment I promised earlier, the one that can help you in your day-to-day life. Jazzy Jarrett's Positively Practical.
Why, thank you, Pat. I think from here on in, on Pop Culture Posi-Cast, I'm going to start using what I call real life lessons. I'm going to take situations that have actually happened, analyze them, and kind of hopefully help our listening audience. They might find themselves in similar situations, maybe reevaluate. A lot of the times, probably almost every time, Pat, it's going to be about emotional intelligence. I talk about it a lot. Managing your emotions so your emotions don't manage you. And so the one I want to talk about today is very much in that vein, and I've called it Don't Let Anger Steal From You. What I mean by that is literally, as in take your money. Here's what happened to me several months ago, Pat. I was selling on Facebook Marketplace a sound bar. I had a sound bar back here for my little TV set up in this room for years.
Okay.
I went yard sailing and I bought the one I had back here was an RCA. I went yard sailing and I bought a Polk one that came with a subwoofer. So it was a little nicer than my RCA.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm going to swap them out. I got the Polk one for $10 at a yard sale. So I'm going to swap them out. It sounded better. I like, yeah, but the RCA one was fine. And so I sold it on Facebook Marketplace to this guy. I met him down at a parking lot, shady deals and all, and he gave me like $20 for it. And I'm like, here's dang, cool. All right. All smiles. Nice meeting the guy. Seemed like a cool dude. Well, maybe a day goes by and I get a message from him. And he says, I can't believe you stood there with a smile on your face and sold me some blown speakers. And because I practice emotional intelligence, like some people might read that and just get mad or whatever. Like that, of course, was my first instinct was like, hey, he's accusing me, blah, blah. I stopped. And I said, okay, let me take a deep breath. I'm like, blown speakers? Were they blown? No, I don't think they were blown. But then I thought, I use them back here to watch TV. So I've never really pushed them. They've
Sure.
always been at a pretty quiet level. I've never turned them up loud. And some speakers, like, you won't know it's blown unless you really start to
Push it
you
to
start
the,
hear.
to
So I
stretch
thought-
it.
I thought, it's possible that they could have been blown. I don't think they were, but I said it's possible. So if there's a possibility, then let me be fair to this guy, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I messaged him back. Professional as all get. I said, oh man, I'm really sorry that happened. I said, I've always used them and didn't have any problem. And I said, just what I told you in the message, I said, I've always kind of played them at a low level. So, okay, maybe they were blown. I said, if you'd like, we can organize a time to meet in the same place and I'll give you your money back.
Yeah.
Simple, right?
Mhm.
His response again was hostile. I just can't believe you sit there and you sell damaged goods and blah, 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 blah. So I write it back one more time. And I said, you keep choosing a angry and confrontational path with this. And I'm trying to be fair and kind to you. I said, honestly speaking, do I think there's a better chance that you blew those speakers when you were hooking them up? I do think that. I said, but I'm willing to look and say, there's a possibility that I might have been wrong. And I'm okay with that. I said, so I'm not blaming you and I'm willing to meet you and give you the refund. Right? Then I put the stipulation. I said, but you have to drop the anger and the accusatory tone. What does he do when he replies? It's funny. He goes, yes, I want the refund, but I still can't believe you're out there selling them. Blah, 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 blah. Last response to him, I wrote back. I said, hey, if you think I'm going to meet some person I barely know who consistently goes to anger and accusations, I'm going to go meet you somewhere so that you can be angry in person with me. No way. I said, you are now stuck with those. There will be no refund. You are blocked. We are done. I blocked him. Never heard him. I just blocked the dude. So I tell that story. Don't let anger steal from you. This guy chose being angry at the situation over getting his money back.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy, Pat?
It is. It is. Okay, you're going to give me my money back? Okay, I'll come and get it.
Exactly. And I get it, Pat. We've all received something that we ordered something and it wasn't quite what we wanted. We were angry about it. Like, yeah, that's your first reaction, right? But the multiple messages over the course of several hours.
Yeah.
Serious red flag when all this individual wants to do is keep going back to accusations and anger. Again, I stress this. Am I going to go meet a guy I barely know who just wants to be angry all the time? No, I don't want physical violence. I don't want that. Even if you are angry out there, folks, even if, everybody's mind, I've sold eBay long enough to know everybody's mind automatically goes, oh, someone tried to scam me. Well, guess what? 9 times out of 10, no one's trying to scam you. It's just something unfortunate happened. And if you can master your emotions and not let your emotions master you, you might get your money back in a handshake and a smile and an apology.
Sounds pretty practical, Jarrod.
That's Jarrod's practical advice. So that next time that you order something off of eBay or Marketplace or even some Amazon or whatever, and it doesn't come in the condition you expected, master your emotions, be professional, be kind, and you might just be surprised at the results.
Sounds like good things to do.
I look forward to sharing more of these crazy life stories with everybody because I have more, Pat.
Oh, I believe it. I definitely believe it.
And with that, it is time to give out some more positivity and show some love to our Crusaders Club members. These are the fine folks who have joined our crusade. They enjoy early access to special long box episodes, free raffle giveaways, voting on show programming, so much more. These are the folks reaping the benefits and giving some much appreciated support to the show.
And Helica Woof.
Auburn Elvis.
Blast it or stash it.
Braxton Underwood.
Captain Entropy.
Clinton Robinson.
Dave Collins, the Battle Wagon.
Gary V.
Gerald Green.
Jason Keene.
Jason Lady.
Jeremy L.
Jim Jarman. I hope you like Jim Jarman too.
Jim Value Meal.
I like that. Joe Thomas.
John Watson.
Josh Strickland.
Candace Ward.
Kathy Bright, the MVP.
Mark Ross.
Maxwell Traver.
Miranda W.
PD Devins.
Paul Hicks.
Rick from Jeff and Rick Present.
Rob Morgan.
Ryan Daly.
Samantha Maney.
Sean Urbanski.
Spidey 67.
Spreadsheet.
Steve Cronin.
Tim Price.
Tony Pennington.
And Toronto Cap.
As always, if we missed anyone on our list, we certainly apologize. Don't get mad. Okay, don't let anger make your decisions for you. just send us an email, contact@longboxcrusade.com, and we'll get it straightened out. Because we do a lot of these pre-recorded, sometimes months in advance. So especially if you've joined recently, we'll probably be adding you soon. But again, contact@longboxcrusade.com. If we've missed you, because we're behind the scenes, we pull the list down from Patreon, and sometimes it might not accidentally highlight all the names. You never know. You never know. Right click, left clicks.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway,
that's true.
We'll get it all fixed. And if you're asking yourself, well, how do I get in on this Crusaders Club member thing? It's simple. Patreon.com/LongBoxCrusade for as little as $1 a month. You get access to the amazing world of the Crusaders Club. And one of the most popular benefits we've been noticing is we invite people to be on the shows, any of our Longbox shows. Like if you're like, man, I really want to be on a Posi-Cast one time, and you're a Crusaders Club member, and you send us a message and say, hey, I'd really love to do a Posi-Cast. I love that vibe. We're going to have you on. Okay. So we really want to reward our folks, get them involved if they want to be.
Yeah. And make sure you become a Crusaders Club member, because, we're just 20 some people away from doing that Showgirls.
I almost don't ever want to get to 50. I would do it for you people, though. I would do it. Anyways. Now let's get into our feedback section. And if you want to give us some feedback, the easiest way is to use our voicemail, which is 707-532-5269, 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the phone.
You can always call there. Give us your thoughts. We love hearing from you. The last episode of Posi-Cast, which came out in May of 2022, it's been a little while since we got to one of these, we covered GoBots. And generated a little bit of chatter, especially on Facebook. We got kind of a rather lengthy message from Hoover Jeremiah, but it's got some really good points in it. So, Pat, if you will indulge me,
I will
read Hoover Jeremiah's thoughts on the GoBots episode. And he writes, I wanted to point out something that you didn't really stress in the episode. GoBots debuted in 1983, and Transformers debuted in 1984. So it was a good solid year where Tonka could just bask in all the glory with no Transformers to steal their thunder. Problem was, Tonka didn't promote with enough tie-in merch at the time. They could have made thousands of kids fans for life that year without any competition, but they didn't. There was no comic book. Animated series, sure, it beat Transformers to air, but only by a few days. And it was that very kiddie Hanna-Barbera series where the Transformers cartoon felt like it was for that 9 to 12 crowd. There was a couple of storybooks, coloring books, but nothing like the marketing push that Transformers had right out of the gate. There was a GoBots magazine, but it didn't debut until 1985, and at that point, the war had already been lost. Had GoBots had half the tie-in merch that Transformers had in its first year, you could imagine the GoBots Marvel comic, which probably would have put the kibosh on the Transformers comic, since they wouldn't do both of them with the same publisher, things could have gone very differently. In fact, we might not have a show on this network called Transformers Chronicles. We would call it GoBots Chronicles. In the end, the best line won, but it easily could have gone the other way had Tonka done more to sink their claws into that year-long period of no real competition. Very nice episode, guys. I like the idea of the pod. Glad you're putting more positivity on the internet. That means a lot to us, Hoover.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Hoover. Thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, he really gave us a little more on that. We did not talk about that. I did not realize, even though I did the dang show on it and all the research, I didn't realize they had a year head start. They kind of squandered. But again, we both like GoBots.
Yeah. No,
GoBots are a likable toy.
Yeah. They're in a great price point.
Yeah, but
back then. I don't know what they are now, though. I don't, I can't, if they're pretty pricey.
I don't know. Do they even make GoBots anymore?
I don't know if they make them, but just trying to find the old ones.
Oh gosh,
they gotta have some value to it now.
Yeah, I've sold some recently on eBay for my little side business that I do for the comic shop. Yeah, I mean, he had some nice ones though, like still in the box, packaging and everything, and dropping about $100 a pop.
Boy, wow!
These were the super ones though. The super
the big ones. Yeah,
they're a little bigger. Yeah, about $100 a pop.
Cool.
But yeah, interesting stuff there from Hoover Jeremiah. Thank you for adding to the conversation.
Yes, definitely.
And being a fan of what we do here, where we try to put less of that on the internet and more of that ding, 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 ding on the internet.
Thanks a lot, Hoover. We really do appreciate it. And, from being in a podcast, getting comments like this, just, getting reaction back and hearing your comments, whether good or bad, still means something to us. So we do appreciate it.
We definitely like to share those thoughts. If you come back and say, your only comment is you guys are completely wrong, Batman and Robin sucks. I don't know there's a lot of value in that. But if you were to come back and say, I think you guys were overly generous, here's some things that I think really went wrong with Batman and Robin, I'd entertain that, certainly.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, with that, that's going to bring us to the end of this episode of Pop Culture Posi-Cast. If you'd like to hear more from us in the realms of comic books, action films, vintage TV movies, serials, and so much more, check out the entire LONGBOX CRUSADE network. Jazzy Jarrod, where can they be found?
Well, Pat, I'm glad you asked. It can be found on Apple Podcasts, the Google Podcast, pretty much any podcatcher out there. You can go directly to www.longboxcrusade.com. You can go to YouTube and listen to us there. It's like the future. And again, if you want to chat or send questions or comments, whatever, we are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all at LONGBOX CRUSADE. And of course, we have the voicemail line. We love voicemails because it's so easy to put them in the show and make you part of it. So again, 707-532-5269. Back to you, Peppy Pat.
Well, Jarrod, I'm glad you asked. You can't take my line. I'm keeping my line. If you'd like to chat with us online, I can be found at Christatos01 on the Twitter. And Jarrod, where can you be found?
I can be found at Yard Sale Artist, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It's all at Yard Sale Artist. You can check out my artwares at www.theyardsaleartist.com. And Pat, if you've ever said to yourself, Jarrod does these book page sketches.
He does, yeah.
I really wish that Jarrod would do an Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze on the page of a Batman book.
I do, Jarrod. It's like you're reading my mind.
I actually have a print available for that.
No.
Yes, last year at Heroes Con, when I was doing the pre-convention sketches, someone asked for that. And I gotta say, I don't toot my own art horn very often, but that one came out pretty good. It was hard to draw because there's so much tech involved in that, but it was rewarding.
Yeah,
it was.
I've seen it. It is very nice to see. And you know what? If someone wanted that on a book page, there's got to be some love for this movie out there.
Clearly, when I got that request, I was just a little tear came into my eye because, like, man, somebody out there's got love for Arnold as Mr. Freeze. So I did that for him, and I scanned it in, and I do have some 5x7 prints of it. So this is not a show about me trying to sell you some stuff, but I just need people to know that exists.
Oh man, it is very nicely done, Jarrod.
Thank you, sir.
Good job. And speaking about thanks, we want to thank everybody for joining us on this episode of Pop Culture Posi-Cast. We look forward to chatting again soon. And remember, as the old Native American tale tells us, we each have two wolves that battle inside us. One positive and uplifting, and the other one negative and burdensome.
Which one wins, Pat?
Well, Jarrod, it's the one that you feed.
And I am hungry.
The music themes for this show are done by musical genius Joe November. Please check out his SoundCloud at Josephline99. That's Josephline99. You will not regret it.